Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special Sunday night call. I used to do team calls on Sunday nights. I'm probably going to get back to doing that in the future. But I'm doing something very rare. Once a year, I do a mindset training call that I call The Secret right around New Year's. For those of you that don't know my background, I'm very, very, very big on personal development and self-improvement. That is the one thing I figured out was the key piece that I was missing to have success, not just in network marketing, but in any endeavor. And I think it is so important that most people miss this. And I was taught this for 10 years, and I never applied it. I didn't really get it because I was focused on the wrong things. And the best way that I know how to teach something like this is by telling a story. You know, Jim Rohn is probably one of my biggest mentors that I've never met. I've listened to everything he's done and read his books and followed his philosophy. And one of the key things is it's so simple yet important, that is that if you want to change the things in your life, you have to change the things in your life. You have to change the way you think. You have to change the way you act, change the people around you, change the things that you do. You know, and another thing he always talked about is that it's not important what happens to you. What's important is how you respond to things that happen to you in life. And when I first joined this industry, let me make sure I can mute everybody out here. It's been a while since I've used this conference line. There we go. All right. One thing I learned when I first came into the network marketing industry, they taught me that you need to read books and you need to listen to certain individuals. And you heard the names of Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, and they told you to go read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and listen to the audio series called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. The Strangest Thing, actually. And I got into all of that stuff, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, John Maxwell, all of his teachings, Who Moved My Cheese, and the list could go on and on and on. And I read those books. But what I focused on was the skill set. I will go to a meeting and I will listen to somebody on stage and I'll say, you know what, if that person is having success, then I want to do what that person's doing, but do it better than them. And I want to become the best speaker that I could become. I want to learn the compensation plan and be able to teach it and regurgitate it better than anybody else. I want to be able to know the products that my company is selling inside and out, like I'm the person who created it. I want to know all of this stuff. And it took me 10 years to realize none of that mattered. And the answer was right in front of my face, because one key thing that all successful people do, share, especially in the direct selling industry, when it is their job to motivate others and build themselves a sales force of people, is that they are very good at telling stories. They're very good at sharing where they were and where they are now, as opposed to how great the company, how great the products are. And there's a reason why they do this. And it is something that is not taught. You say, what do you mean that it's not taught? Well, if you go back and you read the book, Think and Grow Rich. But one thing about that book, you know, it's like been revised 4 or 5 times. It was actually rewritten 2 or 3 times before it even hit the shelves. The very first iteration of it was pulled off the shelf by Henry Ford, because Napoleon Hill actually did tell the secret in the first draft, and he was forced to remove that secret from the book. So when you read Think and Grow Rich right now, what you're actually getting is a watered down version of the truth. It is like, I haven't seen the movie Aquaman yet, but I've seen the trailer for it. Well, just by seeing the trailer, that doesn't tell you the whole movie. Think and Grow Rich is a trailer for The Secret. Even Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret, is a trailer for the real secret. One thing I also learned is that certain wealthy people will only share so much information. They don't share it all. But let me back up a bit. I want to bring this back more personal. As we are approaching the new year, it is natural for most people, because I see it in my family. I've been around a lot of family members during this time, this past couple of weeks, Christmas and birthdays, Thanksgiving. And everybody is gearing up for the new year, and they're gearing up for things that they want to change in their lives. They want to make more money. They want to get in better shape. They want to be able to get a new house or a new car, or change something that wasn't working over the past year in their life moving forward. And that's admirable to do. But when you pull the microscope back and you look at New Year's every year for the past 10 years, and I'm speaking for those of you that, you're really adults, past 10, 15 years, has much really changed each year from you thinking and doing the same thing? You go back to New Year's 2017, 2016, 2015. And if nothing's changed, yet you still are thinking of doing the same things each year, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different result. Why is this year going to be any different than last year? What are you actually going to do that's different this time around than last year? What is the ingredient? What is the key thing that is missing? See, most people think that the secret is all I have to do is think about what I want, and it's going to happen because I'm thinking about it all the time. And that's false. That's not what the secret is. There is something called the law of attraction. And there is an ingredient that makes the law of attraction actually work. And this is something, again, that is not taught directly. It is indirectly. When you look at famous speakers like Zig Ziglar, Brown, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, most of them came from the Earl Nightingale School of Thought. They all teach their version of the secret. And there's a reason why Tony Robbins is the most famous, or has had the most impact around the world than the others. Because the way he teaches is he's going directly at what it is you have to change. He doesn't call it the secret, by the way. I've been to his seminars. I've walked on fire with him. I've been down to Florida. And the one thing he's very good at is teaching you how to change your physiology. He attacks your body. He attacks your emotions. He attacks how you're feeling about things, because that impacts how you think about things. But we're going to come back to that. What happened to me in my first 10 years in direct selling of failing, not making much money at all, but I just never gave up. I just never gave up. And whenever you hear somebody says, just don't give up and one day you'll succeed, that's also not true. There's more to it than just not giving up. If you're not giving up and you're continually doing the wrong thing, then you're going to continue to get the same results, even if you don't quit. Again, you got to sit back and ask yourself, what is it that I am not doing? What is it? What's the key that I'm missing? And I had my aha moment around 2010, 2011. I was at a situation where I had already been laid off from 2008's financial collapse. I said, I need to come back to having control of my own life, become my own boss, get back into direct selling, because I left the industry for 2 years. So I came back to it, but I said, this time around, I need to do something different. And the one thing that I saw was this internet thing, the social media that took direct selling to a whole nother level. People learning how to advertise and make videos and stuff like that. I said, so, okay, So it's better than just going to friends and family, trying to convince them to get into my deal. I could use this internet to gain access to a whole lot of people that I don't know. This is a brand new skill set. I got excited about it, about learning this new thing, and I did. A gentleman told me, Brandon, you need to make a video at least once a day. Doesn't matter if it's 45 seconds or 30 minutes long, because you're going to be branding yourself. And I did. But guess what? For 2 years of me mastering the social media aspect, I still was not having the type of success that I really wanted to have. So I'm like, what is it that I'm missing? And I got to a point where I was a little bit desperate. And there's 2 things I did. It's in the fall. I listened to an audio series called Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau. I am not vouching for Kevin Trudeau at all. It's not about the messenger. It was the message, because he doesn't own it. And everything that I'm saying tonight, I don't own. I didn't make up. It's not my philosophy. It's what I've learned that others have been practicing for a millennium. I just figured it out. So I listened to Your Wish is Your Command, and I read a book by Wallace D. Wattles called The Science of Getting Rich. Those 2 things changed and altered my thinking, which in return altered my results. Before reading that, my entire focus was on becoming the best at what I was doing. My grandfather always taught, if you're going to be a street sweeper, you be the best street sweeper you can possibly be. You work as hard as you possibly can. But then I also learned that the hardest working people are also the brokest people. It's not about working hard, it's about working smart. But that's what I was taught. So I did become the best that I could possibly be. And obviously, it still wasn't giving me the results. So, and this is one of the hardest things for a man to do, is to say, I admit that what I'm doing or the way I'm doing it is not working. Like Jim Rohn says, success is not doing certain things. It's doing certain things in a certain way. So I'm looking at, I'm the best speaker out there. I should be signing people up left to right, signing nobody up. And the lesson that I was taught was that the way the law of attraction works is that there are things going on outside of your viewpoint. See, most of us can only see and do things based on what we can see. We only believe what we can see. We're looking at our life. We're looking at the people around us. We're saying, if my team only did something, I would be successful. You don't see what's going on outside of your influence that is impacting your influence. Here's a good way to explain this. As a kid, I used to remember my dad got me this little science kit in the 80s that I could take out, and little magnifying glass, and I would go out in the fields, and I would take the magnifying glass and look at ants and look at bugs close up. And when you put that magnifying glass down on the ground, you only see the ants close up that's in the view of the magnifying glass. It doesn't show you the entire ant colony. It doesn't show you all the things the other ants are doing that's providing for their little society, their little community. You're only seeing the ants you're observing, almost like a sonar. You only see what's on the sonar. And that's how most people go about life. Their own little bubble, like tunnel vision. But when things start to happen into your life, it doesn't start inside your bubble. It starts happening outside. And because it's got to break down the barrier you've got set around yourself to impact what goes on inside your life. Oh, I cannot remember. I think it was it Benjamin Button, where there's a scene there where it talks about a dancer, a woman who had a tragic car accident. She was hit by a car or something, and it went over all the things that led up to that. Had she stopped to answer the phone, or had she not forgot her keys in the apartment, had she waited 2 seconds before going out the door, any of these little things that led up to the accident, had they done something different off by 2 seconds, the accident wouldn't have happened. She had no control over those things that was going on outside. That was the first lesson I had to learn. I cannot control everything. Stop trying to. Again, that's difficult for a man. We feel that we can control everything that's going on in our life, and we want to make something different. We just, take some action, start controlling it. There are things that are going to be outside of your control. Accept it and deal with it. It is not what happens to you that's important. It is how you respond to what happens to you. Your ability to make adjustments, your ability to move around. Today's football Sunday. What do quarterbacks do? They might get the play from the coach, but then the quarterback is looking at what the defense is about to do and may call an audible and change the play up. The ability to do that in life will get you far. Yeah, you might have had plans of going this way, but the river knocked you off course. It changed direction on you. And your ability to change, how fast you're able to. For most people, it's too late by the time they accept change in direction, like Blockbuster Video. It's too late. You had the opportunity and you chose not to. So that was the first thing I had to let go. Complete control. You don't control it. You're not the master of the universe. You're not God. The second thing that I learned is that the law of attraction is true. You literally can ask, and it is given. Now, I know we have people from many different faiths, so I do not want to get biblical on you. But the secret is not some magical thing, not some mystic, stars of the universe type thing. It's actually taught in the Bible. It's just not called that. What do I mean? What was the lesson that I learned from my mother when I got chicken pox? And I still remember I was 4 years old, and I remember how it felt on me and the itching and everything, and her putting me in the tub with that calamine lotion and stuff, and socks over my hands, and she would say, before I go to bed, she would say, pray to God and thank Him for healing you. And my response was, okay, when I feel better, I'll pray and thank God for making me feel better. And she would say, no. You've got to thank Him now because it's already a done deal. And for a 4-year-old, what are you talking about? See the spots on me? I'm itching like crazy. I'm not better. Why am I going to thank Him now? I'll thank Him when the job gets done. That was my mentality. I was 4. I didn't get it. But there's a universal law to this. There's a reason why you hear people say all the time, be grateful for what you have. How can God deliver more if you can't handle what you already have, and be grateful for that? That's not just some Christian mumbo jumbo. There's actually a law behind it, a reason why, a scientific. It can be measured. And I'm watching how deep I go on this with the time amount that I have. I'm not going to keep you guys all night. I just want to continue the story. So once I figured out to let go, to recognize that if things are happening outside of my sphere of view that's impacting me, how do I control that? Or better yet, how do I make it work for me? And I go back to the science of getting rich, your wish is your command, and the whole law of attraction. Ask for what you want. Here's an example. You might have two individuals working at a job, and both of them want a better life. They say, I want more money. This job's not only going to get me so far. So they both pray for more. The very next day, both of them gets laid off from their job. One person says, what in the world? Lord, I prayed for something better. And then I get laid off from my job, which puts me in a worse situation. You have forsaken me. I don't believe in you. And that's their attitude towards what just happened to them. Whereas the other individual says, Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Because you know what the second individual did? Ended up having another job presented that was better than the first, paying more money, and was more in line with what they wanted to do. That if he didn't get laid off, that job would have never presented itself to him. He had to get laid off first. It's almost like, do I have to take a one step back to take two steps forward? If he stayed on that current trajectory, he would have never had that new opportunity. The first individual didn't even see it coming. See, the Lord answers prayers just not in the way you expect it. You have to be able to recognize the opportunities that come your way, even when you weren't looking for it or asking for it or the way you wanted it to be. This is how the law of the universe works. Things start happening around you to affect you directly. You also don't know how long this will take. Well, I don't want to go this route, but I'll just say this. Depending on your level of barrier, meaning the negative thoughts and the negative feelings that you have in your life, it's going to take longer for the reverse to start to take place. Those that do not have the negativity and stuff, it happens much quicker because you don't have those barriers there. Here's a good way to explain this. Most people, for obvious reasons, will say, 2019, I want to make more money. I'm asking for it. I'm doing the law of attraction. I want more money. I'm open to new opportunities and new ideas. That's what they're asking. The problem is the perception of money is negative. Whoa. What do you mean by that, Brandon? What do you mean my perception of money is negative? Do you realize that broke and poor people think about money far more than rich people do? What? Contrary to popular belief, all the rich people walking around is not Ebenezer Scrooge counting their coins all day. They have better things in life to do, like enjoy life. See, what rich people think of is quality of life. Poor people think of, I need money to pay my bills this month. So anytime they think of money, there's always pain associated with it. I don't have enough of it. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to pay for Christmas. I don't know how I'm going to pay for my kids going to school. I don't know how I'm going to pay for my car. End of the month comes around, car breaks down right when rent is due. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So anytime you're thinking about money, it is attaching a negative feeling to you about money. So your brain, whenever it hears that word money, understand it does not understand words. It only understands feelings and emotion. And you already have an automatic feeling when the word money comes to your brain of sadness, of lack. And that's the vibration that your brain sends out to the universe like a magnet, and you start to attracting what you're feeling. So the person who say, I'm thinking about money all the time, how come it's not coming to me? Because you're thinking negatively about it. So you're going to continue to attract that negative stuff. See, wealthy people, they walk into a store, they never look at the price tag. They're not worried about, is the rent going to be paid? Or the bill going to, or their mortgage, or it's already paid off. Do I have enough money to buy clothes and buy food? They're like, where am I going to vacation at? Where do I want to go? What do I want to spend my time with? Now, someone said to me a couple of years ago, after hearing me say that, well, of course, because they've got money. They can afford not to have to think about money. Oh, you just missed the whole point. How do you think they got to that position? And I'm not talking about those born into it. See, here's one exercise. And since I did bring up emotions and feelings, I'm going to give you what the secret actually is. And is what a word that Napoleon Hill took out of his book. Feeling. Feeling. That's the secret right there. Feeling. The most powerful thing in the universe is emotions, not logic. Emotions override logic. Emotions override facts. When the mind is right, facts don't matter. You literally can make the world what you want it to be. What do I mean by that? Love. It's not rational. You look at two people together, there should be no reason why they're together, but love, physiology. Not what's real or what should be. Here's another example of this, and many of you might have heard this, but it's the easiest way for me to explain this. You all know somebody who's been in not just a bad relationship, but multiple bad relationships. And at some point you might think, you know, it might be you, not the other person. I mean, you can even look at Hollywood. Some of the most beautiful people can't stay in a relationship for whatever reason. Halle Berry, for whatever reason. And everybody's different. But it's also what you're attracting to you. I remember I was complaining to my mentor. This is before I figured this out, when I was in my 20s. And my mentor basically said, so what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean what's wrong with me? What's wrong with everybody else? Why can't they show up to meetings? Why can't they do a tenth of what I'm willing to do? He says, yeah, so what's wrong with you? I said, I don't get it. He said, those are the people you're attracting to you. I said, what? He said, you want better people, attract better people. But to attract better people, you have to become attractive. What? I remember him telling me that, and he went on talking to somebody else. I never understood it until years later. What's he talking about? Become attractive. What does that even mean? I thought I was an attractive guy. That's not a problem. That's not what he was talking about. So let's get to that in a second. So the woman decides to go see a therapist. And as she goes to see the therapist, and the therapist says, what's the problem? She says, you know, I just keep having bad relationships with men, and I want to figure out what the problem is. And the therapist says, okay, so what is it that you want in a man in a relationship? And she says, well, I don't want a man who doesn't have a job, and even if he does have a job, I don't want a man who treats me bad, who stays out at light, who'd rather spend more time with his boys than me, who disrespects me in front of my child, is verbally and physically abusive to me. I don't want a man like that. Huh. How does that make you feel? Bad, because I'm tired of dealing with men like this. It's like, are all men in the world like this? Are they all bad? It's like every man I'm with is the same way. Same guy with a different name. The therapist says, interesting. But you didn't answer my question. What do you mean? I didn't ask you, what is it that you don't want in a man? I said, what is it that you want? You told me what you don't want. That's all you're focusing on. Therefore, that's all you're going to attract. Why don't you start focusing on what it is that you do want and desire in a man? Let's start. Why don't you tell me that? Well, I want a man who can provide for himself, a man that can provide for his family, a man that will love me, treat me with respect, treat my children with respect, who will make me the center of his world. Interesting. How does that make you feel? Awesome. Loved. Start focusing on that throughout your day. Focus on that. But the biggest thing you need to focus on is, how does a relationship with the man make you feel? Not what you wish it to be, but literally, how does it make you feel? That's the key. Your brain doesn't understand words. It only understands feelings attached to these words. It doesn't know what love means. Love can be beautiful in one person's mind. It can be ugly in another person's. You literally program your brain what it's supposed to do. You have full control over that. Therefore, your brain is a magnet. It is an instrument. It kicks off these vibrational frequencies. These are real. They have been measured. Everything you interact with has frequency. The universe has frequency. The planet has frequency. Inactive objects, inanimate, that's the word, and animate. They all are vibrating. You just can't see it. You can't feel it to a certain extent. Your chair, your phone, your house, everything has a vibration to it. And we are all interacting. Think about this. Have you ever been in situations where you can feel somebody near you and you turn around, somebody standing right there? You feel their presence. Or when you're with another person, you can get a good vibe, or I got a bad vibe about them. Their aura is just off. The color is off on them. Yeah, all of that is real. Like the sixth sense, animals can pick it up because they have different senses than we as humans do. So the secret is your ability to manipulate the law of attraction, the ability to trick your brain into believing something that is not yet there or not yet real, to attract it to you. Here's a good example if not sure where you're at yet. When I talked about what my mentor said, become attractive. Go into the mirror in the bathroom and just stare at yourself for a couple of minutes. Some of you may find that hard to do. I did. I did not like looking at myself in the mirror. I couldn't put my finger on why at first. Can you stare at yourself for 5 minutes? Look into your own eyes. They say the window to the soul is your eyes. Can you stare at your own eyes? What do you see? How do you feel looking at yourself? Do you like what you see? And a lot of people say, no, I don't. Ask yourself this question. Would I decide to work with and sign up with you? Say that to yourself in the mirror. And be honest with your answer. The worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. We're good at lying to everybody else and faking it and all that crap. But can you at least tell yourself the truth? Because when I told myself the truth, the answer was no. No. Now here comes the solution. You ask yourself, who was a type of individual that you would love to work with, to do business with, to sign up with, to go on this journey with, whether it is business or personal? What is it about them that is attracting you to them? And now you know what to work on for yourself. Become that leader. I'm like, man, I want a superstar on my team. I want a top producer. I want somebody that has influence. Really? Become somebody of influence. Become the superstar. Here's one thing that I've learned. Winners do not work with losers unless it's charity. Losers will sign up with winners all day, but winners will not work with losers. They only work with other winners on their level or better. So if you're looking to sign up that superstar, that one person that you think is going to take you to the promised land, you have to become a superstar that the real superstar wants to be working with. Because relationships is not just take. They're both give and take. You cannot be just a taker. What are you giving? What value are you providing? Do other people look at you and say, you know what? I know that if I'm working with this person, I'm going to become better than what I'm currently at right now. If the answer is no, you will never sign up that person or ever have a large team or organization, no matter how hard you work at it. It's the law of attraction. It took me a while to go from busting my tail, asking and talking to everybody I know, and nobody signing up, and maybe a cousin out of pity because they just wanted me to shut up, to now I will always be a top producer that never recruits. Law of attraction. 99% of the people over the last 5 years that I have ever signed up in anything that I was doing never had me going in their inbox or sending them a direct message saying, hey, are you open for an opportunity? Do you want to make more money? You need to stop what you're doing and roll with me. You got to see this compensation plan. It's the best. Our product is going to cure cancer and this and that. I've never needed to do any of that. Once you figure it out, and when you do figure it out, I'll give you an example. Back in 2011, it was November, getting close to Christmas. I think it was right after, or either right before or right after Thanksgiving. And I was already on this journey of the law of attraction, of just letting go, accepting the things that's happening in my life and making adjustments to them, not trying to control it, practicing on feeling what it was that I wanted to accomplish and achieve, the feeling of it. How does it make me feel? And I remember I was having a Saturday morning, back in those days, I did a Saturday morning, early morning, 9 a.m. training. I would do a presentation training. It was cold that morning. I remember waking up. The heater, for whatever reason, was not working right. I'd rather just stay right in bed. But I got up, went to my computer, got on my phone, set up the call. 5 minutes into after the top of the hour, there was nobody on. I'm sitting there. 2 more minutes, still nobody on, and I had a decision I could make. Like, well, maybe I didn't do a good job. I didn't send out the email right. Nobody knows about it. I'm just going to shut it off, go climb back in the bed where it's nice and warm, and go back to sleep. That wasn't going to hurt me. It wasn't going to hurt nobody. Nobody was there anyway. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to practice. I'm going to do the presentation anyway, as if there's 500 people sitting in front of me. There's nobody on the call. And I'm going to do it with as much energy and enthusiasm as if everybody was there. So I started to do the presentation. 3 minutes into the presentation, I hear a ding. Somebody came on, just like that ding right there. Somebody came on. And I didn't know who it was or what. I finished the presentation. I said, everybody have a great weekend, and I logged off. Monday rolls around. I get a phone call. And it was a person that says, hey, Brandon, you don't know me, but I was on your call Saturday. Man, I got so fired up, I signed up, and I've got about 500 people behind me over the next couple of weeks. and that individual became one of my top producers. At the time, he was choosing between two companies. And for whatever reason, he saw one of my advertisements about what I was doing, said I might as well. He didn't have any plan to hop on that Saturday morning, but an appointment he had got canceled. He said, why not? I got a couple of minutes. Let me hop on and see what this is all about. If I did not do the presentation, he would not have been on it, and he would have went a different direction. I would have never known I missed that opportunity. I remember at that time in my life, I said, if I can only make an extra $10,000 by the end of the year, I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to make $10,000, but I'm going to make an extra $10,000. And it happened. Even to this day, I look back and like it's just a weird chain of events that took place. It's always going to be different for everybody else. This guy wasn't on my radar screen. I never knew he existed. He just like came out of nowhere. Things like this happen now all the time, and I'm not surprised anymore. In fact, at this stage, I expect it. I'm more surprised when something doesn't happen, and then it happens later. You hear the conversations I have with like my partner, Jairus Coleman. It was even one, maybe 2 years ago, we said, as time goes on, our conversations are going to be different as we continue to grow. Today from what they were 2-3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, even back in 2012. I remember telling them in 2012, we're going to make this one of the fastest growing companies. We made it the second fastest growing company in all of the United States, summer of 2012, in the direct selling industry. Grew up by 500%. We said it was going to happen before. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know exactly how. I just made a declaration and put my belief behind it. So how do you do this? For those of you, you might have come on late, and you're like, what is he talking about? Here's what I'm talking about again. 2019 is upon us, and you are about to, this is a perfect time for you to open yourself up for change. This is why I do this type of talk now and not over the summertime, because you're not open during that time. You're open now because you want something different than before. But you don't know how to go about getting it. And you're going to do the same thing as last year and the year before. And one of the lessons that I learned, the last 3 New Year's for myself personally, I started off the year in one direction and I ended the year in complete different direction. No idea. Here's an example. December 2016, I was vice president of sales and marketing for a health and wellness company. We were making our plans for what we were going to be doing for the next 6 months to blow that thing up, especially in Africa. I had absolutely no idea that in 2017, I would be in crypto. None. No, I didn't even know what Bitcoin really was. I had already bought some Bitcoin 2 months previous, October 2016, but I had no idea that my life would be pointed in the crypto direction in 2017, even though I made all these plans December 2016 for my New Year's resolution. Now, the goal always remained the same. The goal is complete financial freedom. I already have freedom from a 9-to-5 job, freedom from a boss, freedom to be able to wake up when I'm finished sleeping, to come and go as I please, to not have any restrictions, to travel the world. I already have that. But I was looking for the next level stuff, getting to that $1 million a month mark, being able to start corporations and a dynasty that will last 100 years for my family, regardless of what my children do. That's my next level. That has never changed. The vehicle to get to there will change. So 2017 rolling around, and it's all about crypto. not about a crypto company, the industry. I made six figures without any KGX in just a couple of months, 6 figures plus. And then December 17 rolls around. 1 year ago, I did a Facebook Live. And I remember saying, one of my personal goals is we're going to make multiple millions in 2018 based on what was going on in the market at the time. Bitcoin was over $17,000 a coin. I was just reaching about $2,000 a day. I remember me and Jairus was talking. I was about to he was like, that's when you guys hear the story about Electronium. Man, if Electronium gets to like $2, $1, $2, I got $3 million in 2018. Everything was riding high. We had no idea that the rug would be pulled from under us 1 month later. You got to be prepared for that. I had no idea that we would be in something called KGX, that I had already retired from direct selling. I wasn't coming back. I had no idea that I'll be at the forefront of helping develop a crypto education company using the direct selling model. No idea. It was not on my radar screen. Didn't see it coming. That's been my 2018, building this company. I've put everything into it, all my time and effort, knowing that that's not how I started the year off, but able to make the adjustment when it presents itself. And now that we're sitting on December 2018, going into 2019, I've learned a lesson. So my New Year's resolution isn't, in 2019, we are going to, I'm going to make all this money with KGX and we're going to do this. No. The focus should and always still remain the same. $1 million a month, complete financial freedom, having the resources to be able to invest in bigger opportunities that's going to flip that into more opportunities, next level. That is the focus. That is the goal. I did a video years ago called Focus on the Goal and Not the Task. Focus on the goal. Now, that doesn't mean you just focus on something and sit on your butt and do nothing. You have to move forward. You can't cross the river without paddling. You've got to keep moving forward. Just be mindful of the things that come your direction that you can take advantage of. You can't be just tunnel. You have to be able to adapt. Of course, I completely hope and desire that that vehicle is going to be KGX. But I'm also prepared if it's not. History has proven things happen that are not in your control. You just have to be able to prepare for it. Because those who cannot, like those who were not prepared for 2018 to be a bear market for crypto, they're already out the game. They have already moved on to doing other things and talking about other things. Those that started with us in KGX, who expected us to have a bot right now in our green wallets, they're already out the game because it's not happening the way they want it to be. Or somebody's not doing something they want it to be. I got people on my own downline that I sponsored that figure Brandon's not doing what I want him to do, so I'm out. Goodbye. I made a post yesterday that talked about the most dependable hand is the one at the end of your own wrist. When you realize and understand that, you will have success. It's not about what somebody else is going to do. That's why I am not a complainer. I may have issues, but I will always, what is the solution to a problem I have? And I am never in a situation where I need to rely on somebody else to create a solution for me. It's even worse when I see men do this. I'm like, how are you providing for your family? You're dependent on what somebody else is going to do? What are you doing? You're sitting around waiting for spillover? What are you contributing? What impact are you having? I read a story even about Jack Ma. that talked about being able to remain focused. Having a secretary say, look, I've got a vision for where this company is going to go. Just stick with me. Don't move to another company. I'm going to give you 0.02 shares of Alibaba when it goes public. You'll be worth $100 million. Did it go public the next year? The next 4 years, 5 years, 16 years later? And she's worth now over $300 million. One thing I have learned also is there's no such thing as one opportunity being better than another one when all things are equal. I'm not talking about scams and owners that have bad intent. They're not even looking to be here a long time. One thing that I've learned, you can show me the worst company out there and I'll show you somebody making $1 million with it. You can show me the best company out there and I'll show you people in it that's broke. In fact, most of the people in it are broke. None of that matters. At the end of the day, it's you. It's what you do and what you make of the opportunity that you're given. That's one of my models. I work best with the information I have at hand and do the best I possibly can, instead of waiting for this to take place or that to take place or this to happen. When that stuff comes, then I'll add it to my repertoire. Until then, I'm working with what I've got in front of me and not wasting time and energy on complaining about things that are not. That's not productive. It's actually destructive, because then what you end up doing is you start bouncing around trying to find that perfect entity, that perfect space that has everything you're looking for. And you're digging 10 potholes all over the place instead of digging one big well underneath your feet where the water is. It's about focus, not on a company's plan, on your vision and having a vehicle to make it happen and to stick it through. Another thing that I've learned is that there's no such thing as 100% perfect harmony. That you're going to experience pain. You're going to experience hitting the wall. If you've ever run track before, I learned a lesson. I was the number 2 long jumper in the state of California in 1994. And I remember it's a year before that. So I was at a track meet, Mount Sac, and it was an invitational. Coach asked me to step in to run one of the 400 relays. I never ran the 400. I hate running. I did long jump, triple jump, and high jump. I don't like to run. I said, sure, why not? There was a bunch of girls out there I was trying to impress. I'll do that. I knew how to run the 100. It's just 4 of them. I'll do that. One time around the track, no problem. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't train for it. In my head, I just got to run around the track one time. We do that at practice all the time, jogging. So we get on the starting line. Gun goes off. I take off like a rocket. I attempted to run the 400 like I'm running the 100. I didn't pace myself. I got way out in the lead. 200 yards in. I was feeling good. I was coming down the stretch on the opposite side. The last turn to go into the last 100. I started to feel a little winded when I hit the 300 mark. But I'm like, I got this. Turn that corner. There's a reason why they call it the wall. It's like a wall of wind that just hits you, just boom. I hit that wall on that turn, and it's like everything just shut down. My mind was doing one thing, and my body was doing another. My heart felt like it was going to bounce out of my chest, and everybody started flying by me, and I finished the race last. I learned a lesson. Got to pace yourself. There's going to be pain. There's going to be struggle. That's part of the process. Because if there wasn't, everybody would be rich and wealthy. Everybody would be living their life's desires and dreams and goals. But the moment you see some kind of pain or struggle or obstacle, you're ready to jump because the internet tells you there's something else better that you can do and it's easier. I love to sit back and watch people and watch how they do what they do. It's fascinating to me. I'm like, really? I keep my mouth shut about most of it, unless they're those that's close to me and I share things with. But I'm going to give you, because we're coming on the top of the hour, there's so much more that I can say and share here. I just want to make sure you understand the point. The secret is being able to master your feelings and emotions and use that in your power to get what you want from the universe. Here's an exercise that you can do as we go into the new year. Since you're already thinking to yourself, I got to get my gym membership. I'm going back to Weight Watchers or Nutrisoft, Nutrisystem, something. Here's another experiment for yourself to start. Before you go to bed at night, tonight, I want you to ask yourself this question. What do you want out of life? Better yet, what would you do if money was no longer a problem or an issue in your life? Why? Well, it's already a fact. 70% of lottery winners go broke in 10 years, and you hear horror story after horror story of a lot of them that say they wish they never won the lottery. How did the lottery ruin their lives? I mean, to the average person, like, that'll never happen to me. Let me win the lottery, doggone it. I'm good. Yet 70% of the people who do, they're not good. It ruined them. And everybody's like, well, at least I'll go through that process. I will just give me at least 5 minutes of happiness. 5 minutes of knowing that I'm waking up and knowing that I don't ever have to worry about a bill again. I don't have to have that stress on me anymore. I just want that. And here's the key thing. You just want that feeling. What it feels like to wake up knowing that everything's taken care of financially. Wouldn't that be a lovely feeling? I want you to practice that now. Don't worry about the lottery. I want you to practice. How does that make you feel that you don't have a financial concern? Because the reason why these lottery winners lose it is that money, they don't understand money. Money is energy. That's all it is. Money gives more energy to who you really are. And when you're given an unlimited amount of energy to project who you really are, you realize how destructive your line of thought is, how destructive your life is. And you ruin it. They never learned the discipline of what it takes to earn that amount of money. And when they had it, they definitely didn't have the discipline on how to keep it. All it brought out was their impulses of how they already feel. And that lets you know that most of them were already in a destructive spiral of life. They just didn't have the resources to bring it out. See, people think all the time, I don't understand how wealthy people can commit suicide. Why are wealthy people depressed? They got everything in the world. What are they crying about? I got to get up at 4 a.m. and not get home until 8 p.m. They're living up in the pool all day playing tennis and crying about the problems. I don't understand. You're right, you don't understand because you don't understand money. All money does is eliminate the distractions in your life that's keeping people from dealing with the real problems that they have because they just haven't got the time to do it. They're paying bills all day. But when you eliminate that, now you got to deal with who you are. So here's the thing. Who are you? What do you want? What do you desire? What would you do with your life if money was no longer an object? Let's just say, for example, because some people can't think that far. Here's what you do. You've already paid off all your bills, bought all your houses, bought all your cars, traveled the world, been on a beach for 6 months, paid for college tuition for all your kids, bought grandma a house. A year later goes by. You've bought everything you could possibly think of buying. And you've got more money in the bank account now than you did when you went on your shopping spree. And you wake up at 11 a.m. and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do that day. What is it that you desire? What is it that makes you happy? What God-given talents do you have that you haven't been able to expose or practice because you're just trying to survive day to day? What would you do? 99% of people never think about this. So I'm forcing you to do something that's breaking the curb. This is the most important part of this, because the only time people do think on this level, kind of, is when the lotto gets over $200 million and you're at work and everybody's talking about, man, if I won the lotto, have you ever on your way home? Because I did this one time. I remember the lotto back in 2003, 2004. It got to like 300 something million, and the whole company, everybody was getting in on groups and whatnot. And I remember driving home, and I had a bad day. And I'm like, man, if I had won that lotto, I had to come back to this job. I would do this and that. I went into dream mode. Next thing you know, I'm pulling up at home. I don't even know how I got there. I'm like, wait, did I stop off at that stop sign? Did I stop at that red light? My mind was gone. I'm sure you've all been there before. I want you to put yourself back in dream mode now. But don't think about the stuff. Think about what you would do with your life. And now here's the most important piece that's left out of everybody, every little wannabe guru that talks about the secret and mindset and all this stuff. Even Napoleon Hill leaves it out. Even Tony Robbins, they don't speak on this directly. Feeling. How does it make you feel? It is not the fake it till you make it. It is the act as if you already have it. There's a difference. Fake it till you make it is not act as if. Act as if you already have it, and hold that feeling of how it makes you feel, and then go to sleep, because you are now reprogramming your brain. Your subconsciousness does not go to sleep. Your subconscious is still working out problems and solutions for you while you're sleeping. So you want your brain to think, wow, the vessel called the body feels great right now. Why? Let me send out this vibration to give the body what it wants. The body wants to feel great all the time. Let me bring things to the body that makes it feel this way. You guys know drug addiction? Alcoholism? Why it's difficult for people to break free from those things? Call them those demons. Logically, they're like, I know this isn't good for me. But it makes them feel a certain way. And it keeps attracting it to them. The opposite is true as well for good things in your life. You just have to reprogram your brain to act on the good impulses and not the bad. The brain does not understand the difference between good and bad. It only understands intensity. Ooh, what does that mean? Intensity. You ever had a burning desire? You love somebody so bad that it hurts? It's the levels of intensity. That's when in the Latin languages, there's many different words for the word love. English, only one. There's different levels of it. What is your level of intensity? What is your burning desire? You'll hear Les Brown talk about that. You'll hear Jim Rohn talk about that. I just had a burning desire, and nothing was going to stop that. What do you have a burning desire for? What are you passionate about? Why am I still here? Because I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I don't just believe in it. I'm passionate about it. Because that passion is giving me this feeling that's vibrating off my head that's attracting more of it to me. You guys see how that works? So while you're going to sleep and your brain is last thing it remembers, the last instructions it was given, well, I feel good about this. You're going to wake up feeling a little different than you have before. And again, the intensity of this depends on where you already are right now. This is not going to happen overnight. Your brain is a muscle. It's got to be trained. Do it again when you wake up in the morning. First thing you do when you wake up, don't think about, oh man, it's a Monday. I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I just want to climb back in bed. Think about, man, if I never had to come to work again, how do I feel right now? I'm rich beyond my wildest dreams. Remember that feeling. It's not about capturing the things, about buying a new car, buying a new house. No. That's not good enough. It's the feeling that you already have it. How does it make you feel? Capture that feeling. And then put those images in your head. That's why people talk about dream boards. Have things written around your house that you can see subconsciously. You may not look at, I'm looking right now, something I put on my desk 10 years ago. I experienced a continuous flow of prosperity. Do you know this is the first time I'm consciously reading that in maybe 5 years, but I see it every day. I was looking at it right now talking, not realizing that it's there. Your subconscious sees that. I experience a continuous flow of prosperity. The words is not what's important. When I read that, how do I feel about reading that? I feel great. Continuous flow of prosperity. What does that mean? I feel great about that. That's what's important. Do it at least 3 times a day, before you go to sleep, when you wake up, and one time at lunch. Because the lunchtime is another time where we kind of go back into daydream mode because we're taking a break from our job. Now, this doesn't mean that, you're never going to have bad thoughts. It's not about never having bad thoughts. It's about the ability to regulate how you feel about things that's happening to you in your life. And over time, the bad things that happen won't faze you. They happen. Life happens. It won't faze you. You won't get shook. Some of the things that I have people that have been in business with me that have been far more successful than I have financially, and they get shook about certain things. Doesn't shake me. Everybody has their own level. It happens to you. It's not a problem happened. No, somebody's trying to, why all these bad things happen? No. What lessons are you being taught right now? What lesson can you learn from this? What opportunity can be born from this seemingly tragedy? It's not easy to do at the beginning, but you have to start somewhere. And one thing I can guarantee is that when you start going down this path, and as Tony Robbins says, you're able to master how to change your physiology, because he is teaching the core of the secret. That's why he's having so much freaking success without calling it that. He's teaching it. Change your physiology and you will change your life. Change how you feel about things and you will change your life. Because he doesn't go beyond this, but his reason is because it's the law of attraction. Then you will start to attract that which you feel. And it takes time to break down those old negatives, because it's easy to think negatively. We're used to that. We can think negatively like water running down a drain. It's the positive thing, because we're not used to feeling positive. We're not used to feeling good. We're not used to vibrating for a long period of time on that level. Maybe once a year when we take our vacation and go out to like Jamaica or something. We get 1 week, but then 51 weeks of the year we're feeling bad and negative and I'm back on this job again. What if you were able to flip that? Imagine what might change in your life. Here's what the result's going to be, okay? I can't tell you what, when, or how, but I can tell you what the results are going to be. Things are going to start happening in your life that you can't explain, that you didn't see coming. It's like, man, have you guys ever seen like that person like seems like they're always lucky? Why do always good things happen to that dude, man? Why can't it happen to me? He said that there's always something positive, great happening. And by the way, don't get fooled by whatever you see on social media from somebody else. You can be whoever you want on social media to everybody else. Nobody knows what's really going on in their home. One thing I was talking to my partners about this current season that we're in, those of you that's feeling like you're hurt, you're down financially or not, or personally, it is not just you. You are not alone. This is happening worldwide, even to the rich and wealthy. There's nothing that you can do that's going to change that. This is what we call, it's one of those seasons where the storm comes through. How you react to the storm will determine how you come out on the other side. You can't stop the storm, but you can ride through it. You can prepare for when the sky's clear. That is in your control. So don't focus on the storm. Focus on your recovery. What opportunities can you find in the midst of the storm? Never make permanent decisions to a short-term problem. Watch your ability or need to want to complain about something. That was something I had to learn the hard way. Now, complaining is draining, especially when complaining is not going to solve your problem. Solutions. Become a solution-oriented person, not a complainer type of a person. What's the solution, and how can I contribute? Not, this is not going my way, so if I don't get my way, I'm taking my ball and going home. No. That's the sign of a loser. And you will always be in that situation, no matter where you go. Become a person of solution. And I am 14 minutes beyond, and I have only scratched the surface. So because of that, I will do more mindset trainings in 2019, because I still think that this storm is going to continue in some form of a way throughout 2019. And then there's going to be an awakening in 2020 for those that are prepared. For most people, that's when the real storm's going to come globally, worldwide recession. So we still have a year to prepare. So I'm going to make sure that I'm getting the message out, and it's not just for you, but also for myself, because what I'm saying on, and I'm going to listen to this recording, it's not me. It is not Brandon came up with this stuff. All I am doing is sharing information that I learned, information that's already out there. It's already being used. It is not mine. I am not great on this. I didn't make it up. I just figured out how to use it. And I have results because of it. So anyways, I hope that this would help some of you, that even if it only reaches one of you, as we go into 2019 and we're getting prepared for the new year and new beginning, a new cleansing, new experiences. Expect the best, but always be prepared for the worst. And that these exercises will start to set you up for tremendous success. And as always, I sit back and watch. And I watch people. And I spend most of my time with those that I see really getting to that next level. Because anything else is draining. I'm not a chit-chat type of guy. In fact, what most people don't know is I'm an introvert. I came to a realization. Brandon, why don't you have a huge organization right there in California, in LA? I don't want to be bothered with people that much like that. If I did, I'd have to be bothered with them 24/7. 90% of my team has always been outside of California because that's my personality. When it comes to business, I look like an extrovert. But personally, I'm cool on a Friday night, kicking it at home, playing video games with my kid, watching Netflix or going to a movie, and I'm satisfied. I'm done. I'm not that social. That's just my personality. This is where Mark Januszewski's K-Chi's training comes in, identifying your personality trait and how to use that for your advantage and learning what others are, how to be able to interact with others who have a different personality than yours. One fault that most people have is their inability to adapt to people who don't think like them. And if you're not able to do so, you are limiting yourself to only people who think like you. How small your business is going to be. You've got to be able to not only adapt, but also to become. I could be an urchin, shark, dolphin, whale. Many people, I always ask them, what personality type do you think I am? And I always come up with different answers based on, and really, the people who are whales think I'm a whale. The people who are sharks think I'm a shark. The people who are urchins think I'm an urchin because I know how to speak to you in your language. That's a whole nother, we'll get into that type of stuff on the more personal development side, and we'll be talking more about the K-Chi's system, standardized training system within our company. But this is information that will benefit you no matter what you do, not just about KGX. So I hope you guys gained something from this. Thank you for staying on as long as you have. New Year is coming around. This is the last call that I'm doing for 2018. I will not be doing any crypto talks until the new year. Probably New Year Day, Tuesday morning, when I'll do a crypto talk again. And we'll be getting back at it. I've been sitting back and thinking to myself what things I can do differently and how I should do things differently coming into the new year, changing things up a bit. All right, so you guys have a great evening. I will get this recording out as soon as I remember how to take the audio and put it back in the video format. It's been a while. We've been doing Zooms and Facebook Lives and YouTubes. But I'll get this audio out to those who weren't able to make it live, or if you want to go back and listen to it again in the future. And I always will pull this up next year to see what happened this year as opposed to last year. Love doing that. So God bless everybody. Thank you for listening. Brandon Ivey out. Bye-bye.